Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Jen, and I'm the founder of the Food and Body program. And welcome to Eat Your Damn Food. If you've been following us, you have met different people who are connected to FAB and also our wonderful invited guests. And today I have a very, very special human with me today named Karim Raymond. And Karim comes to us from the country of Colombia. And Karim, thank you so much for being here. And I'd love to just say a little bit about who you are and who you are for me and who you are for FAB. And then anything else you want to add about your book behind your head right now and all the wonderful things you do. So Karim is the FAB coach. So she coaches our entire team. She did a training with our whole team today. And she's also my personal coach, and she has been instrumental. I mean, truly, like instrumental in really assisting us creating the Food and Body program to really be able to help so many beautiful souls who struggle with these food and body issues. But I think the bigger thing of what we're always holding as our intention is people living their joyful, fulfilling lives. And so, Karim, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here, even on your vacation.
Well, for me, it's such a pleasure to be here and to connect to the community that you've been creating all this time. Thank you for the invitation.
Mm. So, Karim, one of the things I always say about you is to me, you were such a midwife for creating the Food and Body program, right? I had been working with, beautiful people who were struggling along the spectrum with eating issues. And I really believed that there was a different way of working with people and that not everybody was possibly needing to go into a treatment center. And then there were certain people who, like, they weren't benefiting from this sort of like traditional approach to therapy. And so this is really where FAB lands of it is an outpatient program where we really wrap the treatment around people in their home environments. And I know for you, you were such a stand for us to create this mission statement with all of us as a team, and that we came together to create this mission statement. And you just did something with us like a couple hours ago with the whole team during your training where you helped us create like our manifesto for the year. So I think it's such an important thing for people of like, well, what does it mean to, create your personal manifesto? And maybe it's an interesting thing to offer to people, especially as, 2025, 2024 coming to a close and people are thinking about goals or what they're wanting to create for the next year. And what we know so many times is people create goals and by February, like they've given up on those goals. So I'm wondering if you could even speak into what does this mean to create your own manifesto and why that's important to even do that.
Yeah. So, like in all the time that I've been working, one of the aspects that I feel are most important with people and leaders, which is who I say I work with, people who know that they have a bigger mission to accomplish in their life, is to start differentiating asking for permission or advice or approval from the external world than really to listen to their own inner guidance. And the personal manifesto is a tool that has been created. I didn't create it. There is, companies that use it, people who have used it. One of the most famous manifestos is the one from Martin Luther King. I have a vision. In a nutshell, what a manifesto is a promise that you give yourself to yourself. It's like, what is your life gonna be about? And is your inner guidance to really have purpose and meaning behind everything you do. There is several ways to do it. Like people can just Google manifesto, how I make my manifesto. And the intention of that is to have a clarity of what your values are, what do you believe on, what you stand for, and that is the way where you can make sure that whatever you're doing is attending to that, rather than if somebody else tells you, oh, hey, this is what you should be doing, or this is what everyone else is doing, is a way to always come back to your core and to your inner self, and to make sure that wherever you are, whatever you do, has an intention behind it. It's not just, because you end up doing things and you don't question yourself. Is kind of like a compass for your life, and it's a personal promise. You don't have to share it with anyone. It does make a difference if you do, and at the end of the day, the only person that requires to be present to that and to honor it is yourself. So that's why I recommend it. I do have my own personal manifesto. Whenever I work with people, I suggest them, and we actually create it. That's why we did it with your team, because it's a great way to always go to the basics of why you do what you do and what you stand for.
So great. And you mentioned, so like, first of all, it would be great for people to take that on. And I know that word manifesto can feel kind of maybe daunting or intimidating. So like, here's the other thing. You can also play with that during the year. You can add to it or change it or reevaluate it. But it really is a way that kind of, I like that word, the compass. It really is something that guides us and kind of keeping it alive, right? Just like we do with our mission statement, we're always reading that as a team so we kind of know where we're going. But I want to come back to that word you said, which is leadership. And I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people can hear that word and be like, well, I'm not a leader, or I'm not leading anybody. But in some ways, like all of us are the leaders of our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you could speak into that idea of like personal leadership and creating your life. And like you were saying with that manifesto, it's really connecting with that within you, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
intuition, that gut sense of where you're going. And so I don't know if there's anything you could say.
Yeah.
'Cause some people might hear this and go, oh, that's not for me. And like, it's kind of for all of us.
Yeah. Well, I actually agree with what you said, especially because I did have a conversation with someone a couple of months back. And my belief before that is like everyone is a leader. And then he was debating, it's like, no, like people are not. And then it really got me to think that yes, everybody has the capacity to be a leader. No, not everyone chooses to do it, because it
Oh,
does come with some things behind, right?
mhm.
It's not just
Yeah.
automatic. So after that conversation, I got to the point of saying yes, like everybody can be a leader. And I've met several people in my life where they're like, no, I don't want to be a leader. I'm not interested in that. And it's okay. It
Mm,
is a choice, is a personal decision, right? Because it comes with something. It's not just a declaration like I'm a leader and then the world just starts revolving around us. So I do think that if someone says I don't want to be a leader, that's great. They don't
mm,
have to.
mm,
And some people on the other side, and I can say personally, like in me looking back in my life, like I always felt that I was meant to do big things. And that's what I would be calling my inner leader. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, oh, well, I'm here to do big things. And I'm sure, and I know for a fact that there is a lot of people in the world that have that same like inner voice saying like, I'm here to do bigger things. I know I can do more. I know I can do better. Those are the ones who have that willingness. And yes, I wish there would be like a little pill that that you have, or a shot that you put it like, oh, I just became a leader. Then is the path, right? Like first is the desire and the decision, and then is the path to discovering your own way to lead. And
Mm,
that's one of the works that I do with people is like, hey, we all have a different formula, leadership formula that allows us to make the difference that we came here to make. And then in that path, there is a lot of confrontation, there is a lot of doubt, there is a lot of self-discovery. And
mm,
at the end of the day, is the only way to really own who you are and what you can provide to others, and to celebrate and to be proud about how you accomplished what you accomplished, because nobody gave it to you. If it was that easy, then it wouldn't be as important as, earning and celebrating what you do along the way, because we all deal with different things in our lives.
mm,
Most of them come from the inside world, like self-doubt,
mhm.
self-judgment, like all those things that we tell ourselves that we're not, in order to not to reach that greatness that we all have inside.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say something about that, and I want to give a shout out because my cousin in Pennsylvania is sending me some messages. So hi, Barb. Great to get your messages here. So, and you actually made me think about something, Karim, because I can remember when I was even in high school, right? And there was a club I was a part of, and we had to do these elections, and I was like not running for anything. And somehow the group elected me to be the president. I'm like, I don't want to be the president. I don't want to be the leader. Like, why did they pick me? Right. And I I remember feeling uncomfortable with it. Like when I was
Mhm.
younger, there was something like, ooh, gosh, I'm gonna be kind of out in the limelight, or what about if I make a mistake or something like that. And then I also remember at the treatment center where I got a leadership role kind of early on. And again, I was like, like, I don't know that much about eating disorders yet. Like, it was like one of my first jobs, but I remember thinking my boss believes in me. And I do think that can be an important part of leadership, is like surrounding yourself with people who are really affirming you. And yes,
Mhm.
ideally, it's getting to the point where we affirm ourselves. But I'm speaking into that idea of like choosing it. And sometimes we're not just choosing it one time, right? Especially when
Mhm.
there's those times
Yeah.
where you have those Bambi legs, and it's like you get to choose to be the leader again. And but how important it is to, have a great coach who's affirming you, having a great team of people, a community of people. And I would also say that, if you're somebody who's listening and you're struggling in some way with your eating disorder or whatever else, like putting yourself in positions where you're alone, it never usually goes well.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
just doesn't. And I know for you, Kareem, how important it has been for your own life to make sure you're always growing, you're always learning, you always have coaching for yourself, because I do think that's how we grow our consciousness.
Yes. So I do agree. And I remember at some point I did also have this, like people choosing me as a leader and me like, no, no, I don't want to. Because there is this duality, right? Like people see something bigger that you don't see yourself. And at the same time, it's a responsibility. A
Mhm,
leader is there to make something happen, is there to have people go to a certain place or to accomplish certain goal, and not everyone wants to do it like willingly. In a leader is responsible when it does happen and when it does not happen.
mhm,
So there is this part of like you listening and observing people, what people see and reflect back on you, and then choosing like, yes, I want to do it. It can be confronting, and at the same time it's always a choice, right? In the past, what I have seen, what I've observed in myself and the people around me that have, also have coaches, is that that's the best way to be supported by someone that can show you or can help you see your own blind spots. Because that's the thing. Like in sports, like there is no great athlete in the world that made it without a coach, without someone who gave them the right exercises, the right tools that has them seeing where they could improve. And that principle applies to every place, right? And sometimes why we don't advance or why we don't expand as much as we would like is that we want to do everything on our own. And it's so useful to have someone who sees your best interest, to sees your both sides, like your shadows and your light, and they support you into in having that work and achieving the next level of whatever it is that we do. So yes, I am a firm believer in having mentors, in having coaches that always, and even before I started investing in my personal coach, I always tried to look for people who had the results that I wanted, to have the information that I didn't have. So in even in like a not very like a very natural way, I started doing it. And once I started to discover more about the world, then I started investing into coaches and mentors and trainers that support me in whatever I wanted to accomplish.
Well, on that note, Karim, I just want to thank you because I feel like you do both those things for me. Like you affirm me, but you also push me too, right? Like you sometimes give me that feedback and I'm like, "Argh." But I think the thing you know about me at this point is like I'm always going to end up doing it, even if I resist something for, a hot minute. And I just want to thank you because honestly, I don't think I would be where I am today without that affirmation and that guidance from you. And I know our team feels so grateful for you as well. So thank you for being here. We'll definitely have you back at another point.
Definitely.
And yeah, if
Thank
people
you.
want to find you, Karim, like how can they find you? What's the best way people can reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, you could Google me, Kareem Raymond. So I'm like every social media platform. You could link me in LinkedIn and Instagram, Kareem Raymond. KareemRaymond.com is my website, so you could find me there, and hopefully we can get to know each other.
Yeah, and look, she coaches on all kinds of things. I just happen to be a psychologist who has a team who does eating disorders, but you work with all kinds of people from all walks of life. And even if you want to just have a discovery call, like she's available for that as well. So, okay, everybody, Happy
Yes.
New Year.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.